Tell me where you are in the electoral process right now.
I just got through with the primary election. There were 5 people in our primary race. We won that with 40% of the vote. Then I went into a runoff because you have to get over 50% here in Texas. And so I went into a runoff with the second, obviously, votes and won that race with 60% of the vote, or 60-40. So right now we're gearing up for the general, which is in November.
Now, do you have an opponent? My understanding is in Texas, if you win the primary and you're a Republican, it's over?
Generally correct, yes. Now, this is a district that has been held by a very liberal Democrat for a couple of sessions now. So our concern is, first of all, we don't want to take it for granted, right, because of that. So we're continuing to work very, very hard to take back this Senate district seat. But also, we know because they have had it for a couple of sessions, they're not going to just roll over and let it go, right? So they're going to work very hard to keep the Senate seat.
And the person who held the seat before is somewhat well known. Am I correct?
That is correct. Her name is Wendy Davis. She did hold the Senate seat. It was great frustration to me that she won her re-election campaign. I knew, and many of us that are very involved knew the kind of legislator she was down in Austin, but a lot of people in the district were not aware. She played it very differently in the district than she does down in Austin, which a lot of legislators do, frankly. So once she won her re-election, after I started looking for somebody to run against her, in the end, I'm the one that is running in this race, and I got in the race first and was in the race when she did filibuster, which was a huge boost for our campaign.
And this race isn't about her, but I just wanted to give some indication. Now, how do you distinguish yourself in a Republican primary in a state like Texas? And I know I shouldn't say a state like Texas because each little region may have its own peculiarities, but how do you distinguish yourself in a field of 5 people in a Republican primary? And you apparently did it quite well.
Right. You know, it is hard these days, particularly. I think it always is, right? Because everybody becomes quite conservative when they're running in the primary, at least in a Republican primary. But I think particularly these days, everybody is quite conservative. One thing that distinguished our campaign from the rest is that we are truly from the grassroots. I mean, that's what I've been doing for years now because of the concern I have for the country, the direction of the country, and then with the work that I've done, I've realized that we have much of the same problems down in Austin. A lot of the kind of moderate establishment Republican type thinking, too much of it that goes on down there. So I was from the grassroots. The minute I announced, the amount of support was phenomenal because these are people that knew me. We had all been working, together.
What were you doing at the grassroots level?
Good old-fashioned boots on the ground, knocking on doors, talking to neighbors and people in the district about other candidates. Wasn't before it was for other candidates that we wanted to get into office at the state level and then also at the national level. I was honored to be one to work very hard, work at the grassroots level for Senator Ted Cruz, as well as many of some great House members and senators down in our state house. How
does it feel different now? I'm assuming you do a little door-to-door, maybe some telephone work. How is it different when you're going there and you're the product?
Right. It is very different. It is. I've told people this before when I'm just talking. It's very strange. It's real easy to knock on a door and talk about somebody else and talk about why we need to get them elected. But when it's me, it's because I think humility is a good trait, and so I think we should always practice it. And so it's very hard for me when you go to a door and talk about yourself. I don't necessarily really like to, but in the end, and how I've been told by other people that are in this movement as well is, listen, you're doing it. You need to get over that because you're doing it for the right reasons, right? I mean, it's not about me. It's it may be my beliefs, but the whole reason I'm doing it is to right this ship that I feel like has gone astray in the country.
Is this the first time that you've run for office?
Yes, it is.
If somebody is watching this right now and has been feeling that sense of duty, perhaps, a calling, if you will, that they need to step up and run for local office, for example, what do you think the best piece of advice you could give to them would be based on your early experience?
Right. And I hope that they have that calling because they've already been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work. What frustrates me, and I actually said it this morning when I was speaking here, is that so many people just step up and want people to vote for them, and they've never really done anything prior to that. And everybody has, and it's not to say because we're all busy, right? And I'm not trying to chew on anybody here because everybody's busy, everybody needs to, has their family life, and I appreciate that. But everybody can play a role in this to get good conservatives elected at every level, whether it's with donations, whether it's with time, going to meetings where they learn more about the process. So first, I hope that they're making that decision coming from there, because I think that's a really good place to start from, because people will trust you more. People know who you are. They go, okay, she's been fighting for this for years, so we know when she gets into office that that's what she's going to do, because she's not just somebody that I'm going to run for office, which a lot of people think, but it's not true because I've just been working behind the scenes. But certainly if it presents itself, certainly if that presents itself, go for it. Let's do it. Just do it, because the primary, there's nothing better to me than to have a strong, competitive primary. I think we should always have a primary. Maybe not every time, because there are good conservative Republicans, but there's nothing wrong with having a primary opponent, because it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you doing what you said you were going to do. It calls you out for things you didn't do when you campaigned on it.
Now, in a couple of years, if I come back and you're elected to office, will you be giving me that same talk about how it's important to the process that we have a strong challenger in the primary?
Yes, I will. You can show me this video.
Good. Hey, once it's on the internet, it's out there.
That's right.
Forever.
Actually, I just gave that advice to a House member. Actually, and he's a good conservative House member. He was letting himself get angry about an opponent. I said, listen, this is the process. This is what makes America great. Don't be angry. Go, just go out and say, why you should have it again. And it calmed him down from that, So I do hope that I remember that we shouldn't get angry when somebody decides to run, because that's what it's about. So,
who was it? Scott Turner used to play football up there. He said, there's always 4 or 5 guys who want your job.
That's right.
And you're constantly auditioning. You're constantly trying out.
That's right. And that's kind of part of it. That's what'll keep you on your toes and keep you doing what you said you were going to go into office to do. And that's the main thing, right? So, right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.